Okay, so what about product design? You will be given some crazy tasks to do, very crazy tasks. You get. You just have to start thinking of way to research. Now, Threshing House is a ministry. So there are so many ministry websites that are out there. You should look at, you can also browse out the top ministry in Nigeria. Now, the site I showed you now, is all about, they are into advertisement. Now, how did I know that these people are into advertisement? I had to go and search on Google about them. Now, I had to copy their name, come down to this thing, just type, press enter. Look at it here. Greg is an American classified advertisement website with series devoted to jobs, housing, blah, 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 and all that. Now, what word will I search for? Classified advertisement website or advertisement website. I can just search for top advertisement websites. You guess? Or I can just copy out the word and open another tab and search top classified advertisement website. So Google will bring out different stuff. You can see OLS, look at their names, so it's even here, classified ad. You have classified ad. There's this company that mentioned Greg. So once you can look at all these websites, okay, their name is not here, but there's this link I saw that brought out their name. I think is
no, their name is there now. I saw Craigslist now.
You saw Craigslist? Is it my highest?
Yes, number 5.
Let me check again. Okay, Craigslist is there. It means I did the Facebook Messenger, Google My Business. I'm used to Facebook Messenger, Google My Business. So I'm not used to all these other parts. Locanto. So I have to browse out all these parts. So for the one I'm currently using is classified ads, which is this. Because classified ad is somehow similar to what these people are doing. And classified ads have a better user interface compared to these people. So I had to use this particular site to do what I want to do. You get. So why am I using this site? It's just for me to get inspiration of things to do. Now, there are different other pages they ask us to come up with. This is another design. This is another design. This is another page. Or they ask us to come up with about 3 different pages. This is another page, right? This is like a job search part to search for a particular job and all that. So what did I come up with for the job part aspects? Let me see if I can hide this thing. I'm coming this so for the job aspects now, look at the job description aspects. If you want to apply for the job, you just click on apply, and we have when the job was posted and all that. So look at this other one, find jobs. I've done something like this before. So for those that want to find job, you can either find job through a keyword or the company. Let me zoom this so we can see. You can either find a job through, now there's icon beside it. Anybody that comes out to this site will know that, okay, this is a search. This represents search. There's also an icon beside it. Once you see this icon, you know that, okay, this is location and all that. Once you see this icon, briefcase, you know that this briefcase stands for jobs, right? So you have to put relevant icon that represents what you are doing. And this icon stands for drop down. It means there are more options here. So once they have filled all this, once they click on find jobs, then the old job option will show. Look at different jobs and all that. Right?
Yes, sir.
For this part, they just asked us to build, as in redesign the interface. Because this job, look at what they have here, this part, and look at what I did here. It's somehow different. Now, without more research, there's no way I can come up with all this. Research is so important when it comes to product design, because whatever problem you want to solve, but there are other people that have solved it in the past. So there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing. You get. So that is why
Yes.
I gave you guys to search Pinterest and all that. There are so many job advertisement website on Pinterest. You should also look at Dribbble and Behance, right? So working on all these tools on this thing, all these tools are so simple to use. Most of these tools we have here, they are so simple to use, but you need to be creative, like know what you want to do with them before you can use the tools. You get. So the first tool you need to work on is your mind, right? That is the first tool you need to work on. So this is the web. This is what we did recently. This is a full design. This is a full design. So for this design, we did a design. We also did the responsive parts. This is the desktop design. While this other part is the mobile version of the design. Right? So let's start our work today. When you are designing, we have what we refer to as style guide and components, right? Let me show you the different style guide and component. Now, your style guide and components might not be exactly what we have here. Now, we have different style guide and components. We have, I told you the last time, we have the information architecture of the page. That is the task flow. You can either call it information architecture or task flow. Now, the task flow signifies that, okay, if anybody wants to work on this side, this is where they'll come from. We have on the total work signify your own page, the service, we have the about, we have portfolio. So this is just like a draft of what you want to do on the total website. Portfolio, contacts, request a quote, right? These are just some stuff you want. Then we have the Evo page. We have on the home page now, under the home page, we have the Evo page. Now, I've talked to you about the Evo page, what Evo page is all about. Now, Evo page is the first page. This is the Evo page. The first page you see once you come down to any site. It's called the Evo page. Now, the home page will have Evo pages. So have a service we render, the service section, about, features, FAQ, footer. This is all what the home page will have. This is just, you can do this on a rough paper. This is just a sketch of what you want to achieve. Then the service page will contain consultation, blah, blah, blah. So we didn't put the About Us page because we have not gotten much information about the About Us page. Then the portfolio will contain the clients, the case study. So this is just like a rough sketch of what you want to achieve in the project, right? Hope you are following. Now, this other part is all about consistency. Now, we have our button, we have our test, Evo test, headings and all that. So let me not bore you with all this. Let me leave this. We'll come down to this later. This is just for consistency's sake. So you will not start using different tests at different places. Now, this is a typography. Now, you should ask yourself, what is typography in product design? Now, let's go down. Let's get some inspiration, right? Now, if you want to design a typography, what will you do? We have different types of typography. Typography is like a guideline of your test, how your test will display on each section of your page, right? Now, for this typography, this is the biggest test on your site. It means if I'm using this test should not, this is the biggest test, and no test should be bigger than this. This is called the display 01 extra bold. This is the biggest test. Now, I think I use this particular test for my Evo page here. I use this here. This is what I used here. Now, there is another test I use here. Let me click on this. I use heading bold 1 here, right? So this is just like a guideline of, this is what I use for the description. Heading bold 1, this is it, right? Now, I'm going to show you, we are going to just do a quick rundown of how typography works, right? So are we set? Are we set?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, let me just get a simple typography for us to work with. Now, there are so many, we are dealing with style guide and comp. Now, if I want to put my page, I have to press my A, If I press my A, all this will appear, or I come down to this here, frame, right? Either you press your A. Now let's use desktop, right? Hope you're guessing it. Now, before you start doing your typography, let's see what others have done. That is just it. Unless you are a pro before you start doing typography of it. So let's see what others have done. Let's come down to Pinterest. Pinterest is a very nice, you can see I've typed the advertisement website here for my search. So let's type in typography. So we have different kind of typography here. Okay, let's use UI design. UI design website typography. You can see what, so we have different type here. We have different designs here. So let's go down to something simple so that we can understand the old jargons I've been saying here. I want to just look for something simple, but a little bit comprehensive. Okay, look at this now. Let's start with something like this. Right? So let me just copy the image, then paste inside my Figma. To paste is Ctrl V. Now it's looking like it's looking pixelated and all that. Now let's start with this. Let's do something like this. This is our H1, H2, H3. Now we have from H1 to H6. Then we have our subtitle 2, body 1, body 2. Now this body simply means we have really used this heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. We have really used this your subtitle and all that. So let's start by creating the typography. Now, how will I create my typography? What font size do I want to use on my site? What font style do I want to use? That is just the meaning of typography. Now, for my H1, I told you earlier that if you want to type, you use your text. Now, let's just type it as typography. Now, to increase your font size, this is where you come. Let's say 42. Right? So let's put it up here. Ctrl D, let's duplicate. Now to duplicate, it's either you use Ctrl D or you hold on your alternate key, Alt, click and drag down. You duplicate with this. Or you do Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Ctrl C and Ctrl V. We have two here now. So we have different ways of duplicating. Do we get that? Now let's put our H1. H1. Let's put heading. Headline. Hope you are getting this process. Now you should ask yourself, what size do I want this headline to be? Right? Now you come down to this part. What font style do I want to use? Let's use Lato. You can use any font style. You can use Roboto, you can use different font style, right? Now this is my header one. Now for the regular, these settings, let me make it black. Right now, this font size, what size do I want to use? This is just simple typography. Let's use 64. Right? Hope you understand this part. Now I have to turn this. I have to turn this to a component. Right? Now let me add. Once you have done all these settings, just come down to this part here where you see this style. Add it as a style. Right? Just name it as H1. You can name it anything, but just name it with something you will understand. Create style, right? Now, if I want to type any H1 text now, let me convert this text to H1. So I will show you the function of typography on pages. Now I want to convert this text to H1. I don't need to come down here to start choosing Lato and all that. All I need to do under this part, I'll choose this, click here. and click the style I want. Now it will change to that one automatically. Do we understand? Now, anywhere
Yes, sir.
I have
Yes, sir.
H1, if I change this test now, if I change this test, it will affect all the H1 on my this thing. Now, let me edit the H1. Sorry, I'm coming. I want to edit the H1. So just come down to this part and click on edit style. Now, if I change this, my H1 to 45 or 42, let's see what will happen to all the H1 on my website. Right? Now, you can see that this one has changed and this one also changed automatically. Do you get that? This one changed automatically. The font size had reduced. This one also reduced automatically too. Now, anywhere you have your H1, it will affect all the H1 on your site. That is one beautiful thing about this thing, about using typography. You can see it's affecting this too, because this one is the property of this one here. Hope we are getting it. Are we getting it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, maybe you should take it slowly again.
Eh?
You can go over a bit. Maybe you can help us go over a bit slowly.
Yes, I want to do the next one now, the H2, right? Now let me duplicate this. Let me take this as H2 headline, right? Now you should ask yourself, what font style do you want to use? You have to deactivate, you have to come down here to detach style to remove it from this part here. Let's detach it, right? It's still on Lato. So what font style do you want to use? Let's use 54, right? Or let's say 48. 48, then it shouldn't be black. Let's use bold. Or if you don't want to use bold, you can use extra bold, something like this. Not as bold as this. Now, how will I convert this to a component now, to a style? I want to convert this to a style. I will need to come down to this part, click on this, my plus button, right? Create style. Now, don't forget, you must click on it first before you can convert to style. Don't click outside and start coming down, because once you even click outside, it won't show. The text property will not show. Click on it, come down to this man here, this part, click on this create style, this plus button. Now, what will I name it as? H2 Abi, and create style. Now I have two styles here. I have H1 and H2. Once you come down here, I have H1 and H2 here. Now let's go over to H3, Control D. What will I do? I have to detach, right? Hope we are following. I have to detach it. Now,
Yes,
what
sir.
size do I want to use for my H3? Let's say 42.
24.
Let's say 42. Let's put that H3. Or let's use 30. Please, you can mute yourself, please. I'm trying to mute. Techno F1, please, can you mute yourself? Now let's change, let's use bold. Let's say 42. Right? Bold. Now let's create this style. What name will I give it? H3, I mean. Create. Now duplicate this. So that is how you create your style. You can also check online and You could allow YouTube to be your friend, right? Now let's name this as, let's use 38 here. Now take notes, I'm not using 37 or 33, I'm using 64, 40 something, 48, 52. So I'm not using, you have to, if you're using odd number, you have to maintain your odd number. If you're using even number, you have to maintain your even number. Do you get that? So we are going to talk more about that when we go down to spacing, your spacer. So we have the H4. H4 are always somewhat small. So what size will I give this? What did we give this earlier? Okay, let's give this something else. Let's say 32. 32. Please, if you're not guessing it, let me know. Don't forget to detach. Let's use 24 here. H5.
Please, I have a question.
Okay. You can ask, please.
Okay. I wanted to ask that what is style? Like, what's the advantage or what's the importance of style? Or what's the usefulness of style? And also, I don't understand how you duplicate all those things.
Okay, you didn't join from the beginning, right?
I joined, but my network was doing.
Now, to duplicate this, you either use Control D to duplicate, right? We have two now.
Oh, okay.
Or you use Control C and Control V. We have two.
Oh.
Or use alternate, hold down on your alternate key, click your mouse and drag down. You get.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand? Now the function of style. Now, if I want to put this one to H6, right? Now we have a guideline of our style here. I want to use H4 for this one. Instead of me to start cramming the size of H4, all I need to do is to come down to this man here, pick the H4, this thing, properties. You get.
Oh, okay.
If I want to convert it to H1, all I need to do is to still come down here, use H1. Do you get?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the function of style now, Abby?
Yes, sir.
Now, it gives your page like consistency. You know that, okay, for all your heading, you are using H2 for all your heading. So you don't need to start typing the properties all over again for any text you want to use H2. All you just need to do is to pick the property for your heading, right? And once you come down here to change the properties here, it will affect all the H2 on your files. If you have about 50 screens and the client say that, oh, this H2 size, this H1 is too big, I want to reduce it. Now, instead of going down to all your 50 screens to reduce all the H1, you just need to come down here, reduce it here. It will affect all the H1 on your screens. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So have we given property for this? Okay, for we use 24 for this. So this is H5. H5. Great. Then the last one on the H property is H6. Now don't forget to detach. Then put the number, let's say it's in. H6. Properties, add properties, H6. Hope we get the whole process. Now, the next one I will need is we have what referred to as a subtitle. Now look at this site here. You should see a subtitle for most of the work. This is a subtitle. This is the heading. This is a subtitle. This part too. This is like a body test. All this is a body test. Now I can use H4 for this and use a body test for this. You get? Now let's do something like that. Sorry. Hope we are following.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. I can't see anything you are doing, sir. I'm not seeing your screen.
Are you seeing my screen now?
No, I'm not. So I have just been, that's why I've been raising up my hand since I didn't see, I can't see anything you've been doing.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir. Probably you should.
Yes, sir.
What can you
Maybe you
see?
should log out and log in again.
Yeah, I just did that now.
Probably you should scroll to the first page. Are you seeing all the participants on your screen?
No,
Hello?
I'm not seeing a participant
How
on
can
my
you see on your screen?
I think the thing is that is the network because it kept rolling. It just wrote Peter Felix has started screen sharing and it kept rolling.
Okay,
Can't
let
find
me
it.
stop. Let me stop and share again. Right? You can put your
Okay,
hand down,
sir.
sir. Your hand will not pain you. Just put your hand down.
Okay.
All right,
Let-
let's try that.
Can you see it now?
No. Yes.
Can you guys?
Yes.
You can see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So just follow the process of what we are doing. Now, let me do for the subtitle 1, subtitle 2, because it's not all subtitles that we have that we would use the same this thing. You can use subtitle 3, 4, 5, 6. So it all depends on how big the project is. If you look at this style guide and component, this is a very elaborate style guide, and this is a very elaborate typography. You can see how long the stuff is, because this project is a big, like a very big project, right? So we have the heading 02 bold, we have we have subtitle 2, and all that. So it all depends on the kind of projects you are working on. If you are building just a page now, you don't need a very big typography. Now let's type subtitle here. Now let's give the property of the subtitle. Let's name it as subtitle 1. Let me copy it. Now for the subtitle, what do I want to use? Let's use 24 for subtitle. Let's use medium, either medium or semi-bold, right? Hope we're getting it. But let's go with medium for the subtitle. Now let me add my properties. I'll name it as subtitle 1. I've copied the text before, that is why it's there. Subtitle 1, create. Now let's create for subtitle 2. Subtitle 2. Detach it. Let's say 18. Sorry, let me change the this thing. Let's use regular 18. I feel it should be bolder. Sorry. Let's use the same. Okay, since I've detached this, let me just edit it. Just edit from here. Edit from this part. Now just change it from regular to, is it medium we used? Okay. Now it has changed from here now. Now the next thing we need is our body. We'll do body 1, so we'll do paragraph and all that. So it all depends on what you want to achieve. So you can just go ahead to look for different type this thing. Now, what size do I want my body? I can use size 18. Size 18 is still good for body. Now, the default body size is size 16. Your normal font style on websites is size 16. So let's go with size 18. Let's choose medium, size 18. Then create body 1. So for body 2, we can now use for body 2, let's use something different. Let's use 16. Then regular. Now, style guide is very, very important. Very, very important. If you need consistency on your site, style guide is so important. Now, go down to YouTube, browse different style guide. Just type this thing, Figma typography. Typography on Figma, Figma tutorial. So it will bring us to give you different stuffs about this thing, typographies and all that. Now we have less than 1 minute to stop this stuff. So once it's stopped, please log in back with the same link. You get?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we have the body too and all that. So with this, we can use this. We can use this to design any stuff. Now for your typography, you can label it the properties you use at this side. At the side, you can just use a very small text here and say Lato. So anybody that comes to know that, okay, this person.
Yes, sir. Yes, very well.
Okay. Now you can just rename. Let me change this components from a very large component from A1 to let's use body 1. You can see that quickly it changed. Instead of me going down to this side to start typing and all that. So I don't need that. So what did I use for the font style is Lato. The font size is 64 pixel. Now we measure in pixel here. You can use other this thing to measure, but the default stuff is pixel. 64 pixel. Then we use is it black now we use? I think we use black. So anybody that comes down to this part, we know that, okay, this is the settings for this. Or you can put it underneath it here, something like this. Now if you take notes, they are not of the same this thing. This one is 16%, 16 pixel gap between, while this one is 10 pixel gap. Now, if I want to make them equal this thing, I have to highlight everything, right? Or you click and highlight like this. Or you click on the first text, hold down on Shift, click on this, click on the last one. Shift and A will give you auto layout. Don't forget that. Shift and A is very important. Your auto layout, if you forget anything, don't forget the auto layout function. Auto layout, once you press your Shift and A, now we now have the same sizes. You can see 13 here, you can see 13 here. Now I can increase the space between them with this part, spacing between items. I can use 64. You can see how wide they are. They are of the same distance now. 64. You can use 16. Become smaller. Sorry. I use 616. I use 16. So that is one powerful tool with auto layout. Auto layout is very, very important, right? Now we duplicate this under here and also do the naming here. Type the properties I use here. I think I use 54, right? 54. Then I think, is it black or what did I use? So later you check the properties to use for each. And you know how to check the
Extra board.
extra board, Abi.
Yes, sir.
Now to check in case you forget the property. Now it is very advisable to just put the property immediately you do it so that you won't forget. Now to check the property of this, I will just come down to this setting. Now I use extra bold. It's right. So just type inside there, type extra bold. You get, so that is how you just name the old properties underneath it. Now, this is for typography. Typography is very wide. So I can't start giving you all the stuff about typography here. You get, this is just like a summary of what typography is. With this, now you can use this to build any site of your choice with this simple typography. You can use this to build as many screens as possible, right? Now, there are other, let's go down to other components. We have the button component. Please, if you can mute your mic, please. We have other components here. This is, now for every site have the color guide here. This is for color. Now, we have your normal default color, which is your natural color and the other black color. Then most sites have about 2 default color, the primary color and the secondary color, right? Now, if you look at different sites, you'll be able to tell the primary color of Facebook. What is the primary color of Facebook?
Blue and white.
Color blue. I don't think white is a color.
White
Blue.
is not a color. White is just your natural color that you use. Black is your natural color, right?
Okay, blue.
White and black are just your natural color that you use. Blue. So, and every blue have their different shade. They have different shades. Now, once you come down there, you will see the shades of this blue. Look at the number of this color code of this blue. You can't just say your color is blue. They will ask you what is the color code, right? What is the shade of your blue? We have different blue, we have different shades of blue and all that, right? So I'm going to share a site with you. It's called Adobe Colors or something like that, where you can use hope you can still see my screen. Okay, color.adobe.com. This is a site. I will share some other sites with you where some other site that will help you with style guide and components. So for this site, you can pick, this site can help you pick different color palettes of your choice, right? So you will not use color to jam each other, right? This is color libraries. We have the analog color, we have the monochrome color.
Wow.
So we have so we have different color patterns, but to be as simple as possible, most times I use the monochrome color, then derive color from it. You guess, I derive color from the monochrome color. So let me just show you the simple way I used in. I'm also going to share some plugins with us. There's some plugins you can use to also do your color stuff. But the most easiest way I've been using from what I use to get this color. Now let's just pick a random color for our work. I think Threshing House 2 is blue, but we don't know the we can't tell the pattern of blue now. So let's just draw a rectangle, right? A rectangle. Let's fill in any color. Now you have to be mindful of the color you use. Let's say
I can't hear you from this end.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Now this is my color. This
Can't
is my
hear you.
first color. You can't hear me. Others can hear me. Maybe it's from your own end then. Now who can tell me the color code? This is the color code A60670. This is the color code. I can copy it and put under here. Just paste it. Right? This is my color code. Now if I put this color code anywhere, it will give me this color. Anywhere you put this color code, some people will put ash at the front. You guess, ash. If you're into coding, you use something like ash at the front of this stuff. Now, I want to derive other colors from this part, right? Other shades. we have what referred to as shades and patterns. Now is a plugin. So in our next class, we'll go into plugins, right? I'll show you the different plugins and their functions, some important plugins you need as a product designer. Now let me duplicate this. You should know how to duplicate by now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now I want to derive a color from this. Now this is showing 100%. Now let me turn it to 75%. You get? Now the color code did not change. How will I change the color code? Just click on it. Now use your color picker to pick the color, right? Now the color code has changed. Do we get it? I want to repeat this now. Control D, right, to duplicate. Right? I come down to this side. I change it to how many percent? 75%. Now the color code did not change. Now how will I change the color code? Is to come down here, use my color picker to click. Right? Now this is the color code. Control C. Let me duplicate this. Control D. Then paste this. Now I want to get another color code. Control D, this one. Now I'll change this to 50%. From 100% to 50%. Right? Now how will I get my color code? I'll use my color picker, right? To pick it. Close. This is the color code here. Now it's very simple. You don't have to start stressing your brain to get color and all that. This is one of the most simplest way I use in getting my colors. And let me reduce all this, just highlight them. Control K, just press your K to give you your letter K. So Shift and 2 to increase, Control and plus to reduce. Now, how many percent is this? 100%, 75%, 50%. Then how many percent will be this one?
25.
Lovely.
25%.
25%. You guess the logic now, right? Now, I'll use my color picker. You can adjust this. You can bring this one to any part. Then use your color picker to pick. Now, copy the color code. Control C. Duplicate this. Control D. Now, I want them to have equal spacing. I will highlight all like this. Or let me use auto layout for this too. Shift and A to auto layout it. Highlight both. Now the space within up and down is 8, right? Now let me use auto layout for this. Shift and A. What is the space between them? 8. Auto layout for this. Shift and A. 8. Auto layout for this. Shift and A. This one is 9, so you have to change it to 8. Now, then I will now highlight all now. Auto layout, Shift and A. Now, if I duplicate any of these, it will give me equal, no matter how the length it will give you equal spacing all through. The more I duplicate, the more equal spacing you will have. The spacing within them is, you can reduce the space within them. So it will, the more you duplicate, the more it will start giving you equal spacing. Do we get the function now?
Yes, sir.
So auto layout is important. Now this is my primary color. Now let's look for color that will complement this man here. Let me copy this color code, right? Let's go down to our color picker. Let me look for a color that will complement this. Let me create a color from this class. This is monotype. Let's use analog. Let's see. Let me paste a color this in here. Which color should we go with? Okay, let's try complementary. Are you getting it? Complementary
Yes.
colors. All these are the complementary colors for what we have. But if you don't want to use this, fine. But just you look for colors. All these are the complementary colors of what we have here, of these shades. Right? Which color should we go with? Should we go with this?
Okay.
Okay, just Control C. Just copy the code. So let me bring this one out. Shift and A. Now paste the color here, the code, Control V. You can see, right? Now let me duplicate this. Don't forget to copy the color code. Let me duplicate this one also. Hope you are getting the logic. Now you follow the
Yes,
same
sir.
process. I'll turn this to 75, right? Then use my color picker to pick it to get the code. I'll duplicate this again. How many percent? 50%.
50%.
Use my color picker to pick. Duplicate it. How many percent? 25%. Use my color picker to pick. Now this is just my primary. We have gotten my primary color and my secondary color successfully. Now, how will I convert this to components? Now let's start with this, right? I want to convert this to a style now, right? I'll come down here, click this plus button. Sorry, not here. Look at this part here. This style here, click on this style. This create a style. On that, where you see your field, the front field, click create a style here. Now, primary one. Create. What will I name this as? Primary 2, Abi?
Yes, sir. Primary 2.
This one, primary 3. Then primary 4. Now, this is the beauty of creating your style guide. If I have all this now, and I use this primary color for this color here. Now, just click here. Look at their names here. Now, if I change this my primary color, let me change the properties of this, right? Sorry. Let me change the property. Let me change the color. Let's just watch what will happen to this. Are you seeing both? It's affecting both because we got this component from this. So that is one of the beauty of using your this thing. Now Control Z. Control Z will take you back to where you came from. Do we get that? Now we are setting our primary color and secondary color. Now the next thing we have to do, you can also set your black and your gray color. Now in designing, we don't advise people to use black like 000 as your black code. Now for the black, don't use this pure 0 like this code. No, you can take it to any of the number, but don't use this pure black. It affects the eyes. Now let's use 151515. Then you repeat the same process, duplicate. Don't forget to get the color code and don't forget to create it as a component, right? Hope you now understand how to create a style.
Yes, sir.
75. Ctrl D. 50. Ctrl D. 25, right? The color has not changed, so you must find way to pick the code. Find way to also pick the code. Then for the last one to repeat the same process. Now for the whites, the gray color, let's try this, a natural color. Ctrl D. 75. $50. You can also make this pure white. Pure white will not affect anything. Hope you are getting it.
Yes, sir.
Now we have the primary color, secondary color, the black, and the natural, these two natural black. So you can use any of these interchangeably on your site. Now there are some sites we also have we have the success color, the warning color, and all that, right? Something like this. We have the success. So where the success plays in, once you fill a form and you submit the form, it will show you successful. Now that's color, this is the color. Now warning, once you are clicking on something that is not right, it will show you warning, right? Or once you input a code that is not correct on your password field, it will show you error. Now all these are the colors, right? We have the success color, the warning color, and the error color. Do you get? Now this is just the same process you create. Now you cannot use any color for your success color or the success color everywhere is called green. Your success color is always green. Your error color is always red. So there's no way you want to change it and say, okay, I want to use blue for my success color. It doesn't work that way. You have to follow the rules. We are also going to come down to where we talk about the rules of UI UX. I'm going to share the link with us to study more of the rules of UI UX and all that, the principles of UI UX. So once it's a success color, let the success color be the same thing. So you can't, on all sides, success color is always this. Warning color, error color is always this on all sides, right? So don't invent your own color. Now we have the shadow effect. Now, if you go to some sites, you will see some shadows. Now, how will you create your shadow? Who is talking, please? Tommy Sink, are you speaking? Please, let's mute our mic, please. Now, this is your shadow. How do you use shadow? There are so many places you want to apply shadow effects. Right, this is a project I'm currently working on. If you look at let's look at now. Let's look at these parts. There's shadow effects. Look at, there's shadow effects here. All these are shadow effects. Now, how do you want your shadow effect to appear on your site? Right? Now, you don't forget, you have to create different pages for all this. I'm just showing you a rough sketch. You have to create different pages for all this. Now, how will I create another page? I can duplicate this page. It will give me extra page. I can just delete what I have here. Delete these ones. Then align this one to the middle. Hope you understand the logic.
Yes.
Okay. I hope you're all getting this, the jargons I've been doing so far. Now, how will I get my shadow effects? Now, let me just draw a rectangle and use this as a shadow effect. Now, I want to give this a shadow. Now, I'll come down to this side. We have effects here. Click on the plus button to give effects. Now, we have the drop shadow. We have inner shadow, drop shadow, layer, blur, background. Now, the one we work with most is just the drop shadow, right? Now, once you click on this icon here, it will bring out the drop shadow settings. Now, we have the X. If I give 100 for the X, you can see how far the shadow is, right? We have the vertical shadow and the horizontal shadow. You can see. Hope you are getting it. If I give 20, how will the vertical part look? How will the horizontal part look? Right? If I give 8 and 8, how will it look? If I give minus 8, how will it look? You can see where minus 8 took it to. You can use minus 100. You can see where it took it to. Your minus sign will take it to your left, while your positive sign will take it to your right. Do we understand that? If I give minus 100 now, let's see what will happen. You can see. Do you understand that? Now, let's give our shadow effects. Let's say 4 and here 4. Now, the blur, how do you want the blur to look like? Let's say 100% blur. You can see the effect of blur, right? Let's say 20, or let's say 8. Now, the spread, how far do you want it to spread? Look at now, the function of spread. So most time this spread, I used to leave it as 0, right? Then the brightness, the percentage, I'm not using my 000 as, let me use this. I use one of the shades I created, something like this. Now you can have different shades of shadow. You can go and study about typography principles. You study about shadow principles and all that. You get. So this is just how you set your shadow effect. You can also come down to this side and add it as this thing. Sorry. You can add it as a style here. You can put it as shadow 1 and all that. So that is just how you create your shadow. Now let's go down to the most important, one of the most important aspects of this thing. It's called buttons, right? Let me show you the buttons we created here. All these are buttons, call to action buttons. Now we have the primary button and the secondary. We have primary button, secondary button, and tertiary button. There is 3 types of buttons, right? I opened the site, so I showed us one site, Open Classroom, openclassroom.com. Now, the Daystar website I showed us, you can't differentiate their primary button from their secondary button. But on this site, who can tell me the primary button we have here? What is the primary button?
Start application.
Right. Start application is the most important button. Then the other button is what? Discover training program. This is a button. Start application is, you can see the shadow effect on the start application button once you come on top, the over. Are you seeing shadow?
Yes.
Look at the shadow effects. Now this is on that button. Now let's go down and see how they also applied other buttons on their site. Now this is a button. This is their tertiary button. This is the third type of button we are seeing now. This is a tertiary button. We have the primary button, secondary button, and also the was. Look at this. Now they use their tertiary button for this. Hope you are getting it. Now let's create our buttons. Now, creating buttons, most people would like to use a rectangle to, you don't use rectangle to create buttons. Now let's go down to this part. If I want to create button, I don't come down here to click rectangle and put text on top. Wow, this stuff will still go off. Please, once it go off, I think we'll just end here. I'll give us assignment to do to create our typography. But this button, let's quickly rush down. I want to create my button now. Let's type it as primary button. Right now, which let's use our body 2, right? Let's use body 2. Now, once you have typed your text, the next now you would do is to create auto layout. This is very important. You must learn this. Auto layout. Just press your Shift and A. You should know how to do auto layout by now. Now we have done the auto layout. Now just come straight to your fill or your stroke. It depends on the button. Let's create primary button. Now don't forget you use your color. Which of the color do you want to use? Can you see my screen now? You use your primary. You don't just pick any color to choose. You use either your primary color or your now let's use our primary color. The text field, let's use this for the text field. Now, this button to me is very small. How will I increase my buttons? Right? Now, come down to this top part. We have the horizontal padding and the vertical padding. Please take note of this. It's very important. Horizontal padding and vertical. I don't mind to delete this and restart again. Right? I want to restart again. Primary button. I'm using my body 2. Now, after typing Shift and A to create auto layout. Now, let's come down. Let's choose our text, our field. Sorry, let me just go down to this primary. Now, double click inside, double click to select your text. Let's choose. Now, I want to increase this. I'll scroll up back. We have, if I use 60 here, you see how long the stuff is. If I use 20 here, you see the height now. Something like this. Now, we have what we refer to as border radius. Look at this size now. There is but this is not a sharp edge. There's a border radius. Now, if you're using the border radius, maintain the border radius all through for your button. Now, this is their border radius. It's the same border radius with this. The curve. The edge is not a very sharp edge like this. Now, for my border radius, I love either using 8 as my border radius. Look at. Please, let's take note of this. Button is very important when it comes to your style guide and component. This is my primary button. I can duplicate to do my secondary button. Now, my secondary button, I might not use my secondary color for my secondary button. I can just say, okay, I don't want to use fill. Let me remove the fill. All I need is stroke. You come down to your stroke, pick your color, primary color, this. Now, double click to change your text. Remember, you can, you can use something like this as your secondary button. Do we get that? Are we
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
now, we have the primary button. We have the, let's type. Now, if I want to type, I don't want this thing to move. I want to make it the same size. Now, look at what I mean. Now, if I delete this, you can see the button has reduced. Right? I don't want it to reduce when I want to type. Now, I can just put fixed. Just click on top and come down to this part where you have this UJ. I want to make the width fixed width. You can also make the height fixed height. So if I delete this, it won't change anything. It won't, the bus will not move. It's still the same bus. right? Now, take note of this. Is at the middle, right? It has moved. Now, this is the default. It should always be at the middle. Align center, center alignment. Center alignment. This is the default alignment. Hope you are getting it. Now,
Yes, sir.
how do I want my tertiary button to look like? I can bring this as my tertiary button. Now, you don't just use like normal text as your tertiary button. This is how you use line. Now, I use Control U, underline to underline, right? Or you come down to this, your settings and all that, then click on underline here. Now, I want to use this as my tertiary button. Anybody that sees this will know that this is a button, right? Now, these people use over effects. Over simply means you can also put at the side that once they come on top of this button, it should over, right? Let me duplicate this. And once they come at the side of my button, the button color will change. Or let me use this. Now, I will not use something like this color now. I will change the color to something like this, right? Then I can change the color. Once you can get all this principle, that is, if I bring my mouse on this, it will change to this, just like what we have here. If I bring my mouse to this, you can see the over effect. On their tertiary button, let's go down to that tertiary button. Let's see what they look at. It's changing automatically. Now, they didn't use the same color they have here for it. This is a different color here. They didn't use the same color here. Do we get that? Now it tells your it tells anybody that this is a button. Now the mouse also will change automatically once you come on it. Now we have error button, success button, and all that. Let me show you the error button, success button. Okay, we don't have that. There are some buttons you also put icon. How do you put icon in a button? Right? Let me quickly create a button like that. I need a button that have icons. Now let me duplicate this. Let me remove the underline, Control U. Now, let me go into this thing. There's a plugin with Iconify. Iconify is a plugin. Iconify, you can install it. So in our next class, I'll show you also how to do how to use them plugins. Now let me look for plus. I need this plus icon. Right, let me close. Let me bring it out. Now there are some buttons you will see that we have plus icon like this. Now let me give it the color. Auto layout both of them, right? Now auto layout again. That is two auto layouts. We have the first auto layouts that will bring this like this. Then the second auto layout that will turn it to a button. Now I can now increase the size. Please follow. I will upload this video. Go over it over and over again to get all the nonsense I've been doing. So let me put stroke. Now, if you say, okay, this stroke is too tiny, I want to increase the size of my stroke. Look at where we have 1. If I put 5, you can see the thickness of your stroke. If I put 2, you can see. If I add 1.5, you can see. So that is how to increase your stroke. Now, the border radius, 8. If I want to say, okay, the space within these two, I can reduce this icon. You can come down here. Now look at this part here. I want the icon constraint properties. Now what's the function of these constraint properties? If I didn't put constraint property, I will have to change this to 12 and come down also here to change this to 12. You get. Now, what is the function of constraint properties? If I click constraint properties, it means whatever number that is there will affect this number here. The same number, if I put 56, 56 will appear here automatically. Now, let me use the 14, right? It will affect 14 here automatically. So just activate this as constraint property. Now, I want to, just double click on this too. Once you see line on it like this, it means this is the one that is active.